Looking at CLAT 2025 quant, and in this we'll be looking at part 2 of percentages. So let's begin with the questions, okay? And as usual, you may have seen that percentage based questions in CLAT, they are set based. So you'll be given a lot of information from there. You need to deduce as to which all numericals are supposed to be used, which all variables you have to apply, eventually how variables are related with each other, and then fill out whatever constraints and the conditions are given and get a proper scenario, get the proper values. Most of the parts will be based on percentages, and percentage to fraction and vice versa conversion is a very real important part, right? So before we begin, you can ace CLAT with BYJU'S exam prep. All you need to do is download our app, and you can unlock your 3 days trial access just by putting your contact number on the homepage of the app. Okay. So let's begin with our first set of today. First question. Yeah, hi Ranger. So let's start. Hold on. Okay. So 5 boys PQ, RS and T went on a trip and they spent 12.5%, 10%, 20%, 25% and 33.33% of their pocket money on travel respectively. Each of them spent 1/3 of the remaining amount on their stay and food. The amount of P and R's pocket money is the same, and the amount spent by P on stay and food is ₹90 more than the amount spent by R on stay and food. Q's pocket money is twice the pocket money of P. The pocket money of T is 25% more than the pocket money of P. The total amount spent by P and Q together on travel is ₹120 more than that spent by S. So before we, as we start, these percentages, they are important, right? So 12.5% in fraction is 1/8. 10% is 1/10. 20% is 1/5. 25% is 1/4. And 33.33% is 1/3. Okay. So if we write that the pocket money of P is, if we take the denominator to be 8x, then P spent 1/8 of 8x. P spent 1/8 into 8x, that is x, on travel. Similarly, if I take Q, Q spends 10% of its total pocket money. So if its total pocket money is, let's say, 10y, then Q spends 1/10 of 10y, which is going to be y, and so on and so forth, right? So this is one thing which is important. Next is, it says each of them spent 1/3 of the remaining amount on their stay and food. So out of 8x, if x is spent on travel, left is 7x, we will be getting 1/3 of remaining. Now 1/3 of 7x is going to be a little complicated because it's going to be a fraction. So if you don't want to deal with fraction, it's better that you take everything to be in the table of 3 also. So 8 into 3, 10 into 3, you can do that also. Okay. So this is how we will begin. For P, we will say the total pocket money is 8 into 3, 24p. The amount that is spent on travel is 1/8 of 24p, which is 3p. So that you're left with 21p. 1/3 of the remaining, so 1/3 of 21p, that is 7p, is spent on stay and food, right? Similarly, if we look at, so we're done with P, right? Let's look at R, PQR. So this is 20%. 20% means 1/5. So if I take R as 5x, so it will be 1/5 of 5x, which is going to be x. So we'll be left with 1/3 of 4x, right? This is going to be a fraction. So instead of 5x, if I take 15x, this becomes 1/3 of 15x, and we'll be left with remaining as 12x. 12x ka 1/3 is going to be 4x. So this turns out to be 4x. So we don't want to deal with fractions. So that's why we are taking the base, that is the pocket money, numbers which are in the table of 3 already, right? So instead of taking x, let's write r here so that this will make sense. Okay. So the amount of P and R's pocket money is the same. So it's saying that 24P should be same as 15R, right? We can simplify and say 8P is same as 5R. And what we can do is we can take P as 5 and R as 8. So instead of P, we will be writing 5. So 24 into 5 will become, so this becomes 24 into 5, right? Which is 120. So let's write this as 120 common x. 15 into 8 is also 120. So this will also become 120x, right? So 1/3 of, 1/8 of 120x will become 15x. Remaining is 105x. 1/3 of 105x will become 35x. Now 120x we have, 120 curve, we have got, sorry, this is not 120, no. This is going to be, R was 15. Okay, right, this is also 120x. So travel is 15x and stay and food will become 35x. Okay, no, this was 1/5. 1/5 will become 24x, sorry. 1/5 is going to be 24x and the remaining will be 96x. So I'll repeat. P, total is 120x. 1/8 of 120x, that's 12.5%, is on travel. So that is 15x. 120 by 8. Now 120 minus 15 is 105. Now 1/3 of the remaining amount, so that is 1/3 of 105x will become 35x. So that is on stay and food for P. If you pick up R, because it says amount of P and R's pocket money is same. So if I have taken 120x for P, I'll have to take 120x for R also as the pocket money. Now for R, 1/5 of 120, so 120 by 5, which is 24x will be spent on travel. So that is 24x. 120 minus 24 is 96. So 96x is going to be the remaining. Now 1/3 of 96x is something which is spent on stay and food. So 1/3 of 96 will give us 32x. Right? Okay. Then it says the amount spent by P on stay and food is rupees 90 more than the amount spent by R on stay and food. So as per the question, 35x minus 32x is equal to 90. So this gives us x is equal to 90 divided by 3, which will give us 30. So we got the value of x also. Once we have figured out the value of x, we can multiply 120, 15, 35, 25, everything with 30. So 120 into 30 is going to be 3600. 120 into 30 is going to be 3600. 15 into 30 is going to be 450. 24 into 30 is going to be 720. 35 into 30 is going to be 1050. 32 into 30 is going to be 960. These are the actual money that they spent, P and R. Okay. So let's look at other people. Let's pick up now Q. So if we pick up Q, it says Q's pocket money is twice the pocket money of P. So it is going to be 7,200. Now for Q, 10% of 7,200, that is 720 is spent on travel. And the remaining is going to be 9 times of 720. 1/3 of 9 times of 720 is going to be 3 times of 720. That is spent on stay and food. So 72 into 3 is 216, right? So 2160 is spent on stay and food. Next, the pocket money of T is 25% more than the pocket money of P. 25% of 3600 is going to be 900. So 900 more is that of T. So this will be 4,500. Once we get 4,500, so T, he spends 1/3 of total pocket money on travel. So 1/3 of 4,500 is 1,500 spent on travel. The remaining is going to be 3,000. He spends 1/3 of 3,000 on stay and food. So which is going to give us 1,000. Okay. The total amount spent by P and Q together on travel. So P and Q together on travel is 120 more than the amount spent by S. So for this, if we add these two, we'll be getting 1,170. It says that this is 120 more. So this should be 1,050 for S. Now this 1,050 is 1/4, right? This is S of the total pocket money. So the total pocket money is going to be 4,200. So out of 4,200, 1,050 is done. We are left with 3 times of 1,050. So 1/3 of that is spent on stay and food. So let's calculate how much is left. So 450 plus 1,050 is 1,500. So this is balance amount is 2,100 left with P. For Q, it is going to be 2,880, right? So this is going to give us, this was 3, 4, so 6 times of 720. So this is going to be 4,320, right? 6,000, 7,200. Okay, out of this is 3,600, right? Out of 3,600, next one for R is 1,680. So this is going to be 1,920 left. Out of 4,200, 2,100 is there. So 2,100 balance left for S. And for T, this is 2,500 out of 4,500 spent overall. So 2,000 left. So once you have figured out the table and all the values in every cell of the table, then you can go ahead and try to solve questions. The first one is how much did S spend on travel, right? So how much did S spend on travel? It's 1,050. So answer is going to be option B, right? Okay. Next, who spent the most on travel? So if we want to find out, most on travel was spent by T, right? 1,500. D option. Okay. Next, how much did R spend for travel, food and stay? So if we look at R spent on travels, food and stay is 720 plus 960, which is 1,680, right? So 1,680, option A. Next, how much did Q and R together spend on travel? So Q and R together spend on travel. So Q and R together spend on travel is 1,440 rupees. So again, option A, right? What is the sum of pocket money of all the 5 boys? So pocket money of all the 5 boys is, we need this entire value. So this is 10,000, 21,000, right? 10,000 plus 11,000. So this is 21,000 plus, let's look at hundreds. This is 600 plus 400, 1,000, 2,100. So 2.1,000. So this is 23,100 is the total. Okay, C option, right? So I hope you were able to understand. First step was you should know the equivalent fraction for a percentage, and because we need to calculate later on 1/3, so the numerical value or the assumed value either should also be in the table of 3. That will help us, what shall I say, that will help us not deal with fractions. Okay, so let's look at the next set. Study the following information carefully and answer the questions. There are two friends, Tara and Sitara. They spend their income on groceries, rent, fuel, and save the remaining amount. Tara spends 20% of her income on groceries and she spends this. Sitara does this. The amount spent on Sitara is rupees 2500 less than the amount spent by Tara. Sitara gives rupees 9500 less than Tara. So there are two relations at the end which will help us figure out the actual values. Right now we are going to assume some variable for this. So for Tara, I will be taking this as 100T so that the calculation is easier, and for Sitara, I will be taking this as 100S as their income. Now, Tara spends 20% of her income, so that is 20T on groceries. Remaining is 80T. Out of that 80T, she spends 10% on fuel, so that is 8T, and 15% on rent, so that is 12T, and she saves the rest, which is obviously going to be, this is 40T, so she saves 60T, right? Sitara spends 20% of her incomes on groceries, so 20% of 100S is going to be 20S, and saves 52% of her income, 52% of her income, which is going to be 52S. The amount spent on grocery by Sitara is 2500 less than the amount spent by groceries by Tara. So 20T minus 20S is given as 2500, right? So we will get T minus S is equal to 2500 by 20, which is 250 by 2, which is 125, right? Next statement says, Sitara saves rupees 9500 less than Tara. So again 60T minus 52S is equal to 9500, or we can say 8 times T minus S, या फिर simply ऐसे कर लेते हैं. They both are, the max we can divide is 2, right? So this is 32, sorry, we can divide it by 4. So we'll get 15T minus 13S is equal to 9500 by 4. So this is going to be 195 and 975. Is it 975? Hold on. 199. We need to divide it by 4, no? So 95 into 5 is 195, and then 195 into 5 is 975. Calculation mistake तो नहीं है. 975 into 4 should be 9500. एक बार verify कर लेता है. 975 का double and then नहीं. अच्छा, why am I doubling it? I should half it, no? 950 का half is going to be 4750. 4750 का half is going to be 2375. So I should have halved it rather than that. Okay, so 2375 is what we'll have. अब मेरे को T और S का relation solve करना है. So what we can do is we can either get rid of T or we can get rid of S. So I think it's going to be either way same thing. So we can say 15T minus 15S, the first equation, is 125 into 15. And we will have 15T minus 13S. This is going to be 2375. Now, if we subtract, first of all, 125 into 15 is going to be 1250 plus 625. So that will result in 1875. So calculation here. Now if we subtract, we will be getting 2S is equal to 500, right? and S is going to be 250. Now, once we have got S as 250, we will be able to put it back in this equation and we can figure out the value of T to be 250 plus 125, which is 375, right? So this is into 375 into 250 into 375 into 375 into 375. So whatever that is, we will be solving it when required. Let's not waste time right now. We do not know the rent and the fuel amount that is spent by Sitara, right? Okay, let's look at the questions now. First, what is the difference between Sitara's and Tara's income? So can we say this is difference is 20 times 125? Yeah, not 20 times, sorry, we are talking about income now. So that's 100 times 125. So 1250 and I 0, right? Yay difference hai? So don't multiply and then solve. So we can say that 100 times 375 minus 100 times 250, take out 100 common, you will be left with 375 minus 250, which is 100 into 125, which is 125 followed by 2 zeros, right? So this is exactly what I did. Next, if the amount spent by Sitara on rent and fuel are in the ratio 5:3, so rent and fuel ka 5:3, yeah? So we are saying that if this is in the ratio 5:3. Now, out of 100 units that Sitara earns or her income is, she spends 20 units on groceries and 50 units she saves. So that is going to be a total of 72 units. The leftover is 28 units, right? Right, it's 28. 28 units is supposed to be divided in the ratio 5:3. So this is going to be 5 out of 28, right? Of her total income being so 28, you know? So 100 into 250. Why are we having a fraction here? Because 7 will not go away, right? 7 will stay. Let's look at the options. Do we have in point? Okay. And this is going to be 3 by, we are asked ratio, so it doesn't matter whether it is in point or not, right? So we are asked to find out the ratio of amount spent by Tara on fuel and Sitara on fuel. So we're asked to find the ratio of these two. So this is going to be 8 into 125 into 3. Instead of 375, this is what I've written, is to 3 by 28 into 100 into 2 into 125, right? So what all things can we cancel out? First of all, 125 goes away. Then we have this 3 goes away. Then this 8 becomes 2. And this 100 becomes 25. This 2 is also gone. So we are left with 28 is to 25. Total उतना है. Oh, this is not 100, no. This is only 72 left. So this is 72. So instead of 100, we are supposed to have 72. So I will erase this part. So the ratio is 8 into 125 into 3 is to 3 by 28 into 72 into 2 into 125. So the things that will go away is 125 will go away, and then this 3 will go away. 8 into 9 is 72. 2 into 28 is 14. So we will be left with 14 from there. And there is no 11, right? So 14 will go to the other side, and we will have 9 on the other side. 14 is to 9. 7 is not going to vanish, right? So anyways, any option that did not have 7 wo eliminate ho gaya, and 7 is in the denominator the other side. So 7 will not stay here. 7 will come as the first proportion, right? So A makes sense. Okay, next. The amount spent on rent by Tara is how much percentage of the amount spent on groceries by Sitara? So let's erase the part now, since this particular calculation was only based on the question number 2, right? It is not applicable throughout. So the amount spent on rent by Tara. So amount spent on rent by Tara, which is 12 into 375, is how much percentage of the amount spent by groceries by Sitara. So groceries by Sitara is 20 into 250. So this is 20 into 250. So we need to divide this. So I will leave 12 as such. 375, I will write this as 3 into 125. 20 को मैं ऐसे ही छोड़ रहा हूँ, and 250 को I will be writing this as 2 into 125. So 125 goes away. This 2 goes away. Another 2 will go away. So we'll be left with 9 by 10, and then 9 by 10 is nothing but 90%. Right? Okay, next. How much does Tara spend on fuel? So Tara spends how much on fuel? 8 into 375, which is 750, 1500, 3000. So 3000 is what she spends on fuel, right? Next, find the sum of amount spent by Sitara on rent and fuel. Rent and fuel, Sitara ka. Sitara ka rent on fuel is going to be 28 into 250. Which is going to be 250, 7 into 4 into 250. 4 into 250 is 1000. So this is 7 into 1000. That will result in 7000. See? Okay. So that's all for today. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, you can get up to 90% scholarship on CLAT preparation program. The scholarship test is scheduled for 17th of March at 11 a.m. Make sure that you register for it. The link is given in the description below. On 24th of March 2024 at 6 p.m., Ms. Nivedita Raje is going to talk about why to choose law as a career option. So this is an interactive workshop. Make sure that you register for this. You can also start your preparation by logging into BYJU'S exam prep app. And once you log in, on the dashboard, you can click on the button which says talk to our counselor, and it will help you connect with us. CLAT 2025 UG comprehensive course is going to begin very soon. It includes hundreds of hours of live classes, hundreds of recorded videos, 55 mock tests, thousands of topic-wise questions, tests, doubt resolution within 24 hours, study material, hard copy, okay, and monthly e-magazine for current affairs as well. So get in touch with the people. You can talk to our counselor on the given contact number. And Law 2024 UG test series also you can you should buy. It includes 25 CLAT, 15 ILET, and 15 OLET mocks. Okay, you will have unlimited access to all the mocks. Okay, if you have got any doubts, get in touch with one of our counselors at this contact number. Also, do check out our social media handles and pages. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you again with another session on Quant.